after an extremely tough blowout loss on Saturday night against the Memphis Grizzlies, who were without Ja Morant. The Milwaukee Bucks redeemed themselves with an extremely impressive showing in Philadelphia against the 76ers last night. And today, I want to talk about why, while the team did have their struggles against the Grizzlies, them coming out to play against the 76ers, who are one of the top seeds in the East, was just a quick reminder that this team is still a serious contender in the Eastern Conference. What's up, guys? SCJ here, and if you enjoyed today's video, then make sure to give it a like as it helps out a lot. And if you're new to the channel and or enjoy the NBA, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. So as just mentioned in the intro, the Milwaukee Bucks got themselves a very nice win over the 76ers last night as they won by a score of 118 to 116, and their execution for most of the second half, as well as in the clutch moments of regulation, was very great. The Bucks came out and played very well as they opened up an 11-point lead in the first quarter, but the Sixers quickly countered that, and it looked like this would truly be what was the team's first big win with the duo of Harden and Embiid on the floor together. But the Bucks showed exactly why they were the 2021 NBA champs as they erased the Sixers' 14-point second-half lead. At this point in the third quarter, I honestly thought the Sixers had this game locked up. Thibault swings and dives. Harden sets a screen for Embiid in the paint that goes right into a pick and roll at the elbow. The Bucks switch, and Embiid posts and goes right to work on them. Right here, the Bucks switched Harden and Embiid in the pick and roll again, and Embiid goes right to the free throw line to post up. Portis switches on to Thibault and then helps on Embiid, and despite the miss, the Sixers got a great look for Tobias Harris here. The Sixers went right into the Boston play, and that left both sides open for Harris, who slices in and catches the lob pass for the lay-in. But from this point on, this is really where the Bucks turn things around. Giannis comes down in transition and goes right into the post, the fade, and he hits a beautiful jumper. On the opposite side of the ball, the Sixers tried to mismatch hunt the whole second half. However, it didn't always work out to their advantage as Giannis continued to switch on to Maxey and defend him just like this. Now, going back to earlier this month, the Bucks seem to work on sharpening the Giannis and Middleton pick and roll, and that will be a deadly weapon for them by the time the playoffs come around, as if you double team one of them and leave the other guy open, it could spell trouble for your team, and it probably won't end well for you. Well, the fourth quarter rolled around, and the Bucks went right back to that deadly weapon. The Giannis-Middleton pick and roll happens, Millsap is back, then commits, Giannis is rolling to the single side, Allen is spaced in the corner and Maxey has to show help. Then it's a kick, drive, and finish for the Bucks. Also, I think the Bucks' small lineup of Giannis, Middleton, Holiday, Connaughton, and Allen will be very tough for opposing teams to guard as well when the playoffs roll around. As you can see here, the man who just recently returned, Brook Lopez, was showing his value as there's a double drag, the Sixers switch on the play, Lopez then rolls and pops to the corner to knock down a three ball. The ball movement here from the Sixers was phenomenal. However, the Bucks' ability to switch out and swarm is great, and this is another reminder of how dangerous this team truly is, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Despite the Bucks really ramping up their defense, this is an example of one flaw I want to point out. The Sixers, despite missing shots late, moved the ball great the whole game, and the Bucks got eaten up occasionally as Maxey screened for Embiid here, and Holiday tried to jump the double team while Middleton rolled, which meant a 2 versus 1 on the weak side. The Bucks are typically very good when defending the pressure points play, as you can see an example here of how they killed the Heat when Miami tried to work the pressure points play and tried to do it with Bam and Butler working the offense. So it's only one play and it's something that they need to clean up, but they showed in the past and as recently as on March 2nd against the Heat how well they can defend it, but that's just one small critique here. This was a negative turn positive for the Bucks as this was more of a fault on Embiid. However, the Sixers tried to switch Lopez onto Harden and the Bucks recognized that as Middleton gets on Harden and Lopez retracts, which led to two guys doubling Embiid and led to a turnover and the Bucks getting possession. This is exactly what a great team does. Giannis screens for Middleton into a double pick and roll for Holiday, as both guys were screeners. Wesley Matthews tries to empty the corner late, which is also great, but it wasn't needed as you got the Greek freak for a lob here. The Bucks ran that same beautiful double screen set again, and Holiday shows just how great he is as a guard for this team, as he doesn't send it to Giannis or Middleton, and he throws the defense off and goes right into the pull-up himself. Despite some of the Bucks' defensive flaws I showed earlier, they adapted and adjusted to the Harden and Embiid pick and roll by staying in the drop, but pre-rotating to the pop. Middleton was ready for the kick to Embiid as the Bucks then scramble as Embiid looks for the help. Once again, the Bucks drop in the Harden and Embiid pick and roll. Brook did a great job of containing, then getting up on Harden when he rejects. Embiid was actually relatively open, but Harden pulls the step back, and Embiid plays the role of the crasher, but the Greek Freak flies in to seal the Bucks' win. Giannis, of course, led the Bucks last night as he dominated and finished with 40 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, and 3 blocks, including that game-sealing block towards the end of regulation. And the Bucks showed their value as an entire team, though, as they nearly had 4 guys score 20 points, and Jrue Holiday also flirted with a triple-double, as he was just 2 rebounds shy of that. People have blamed Doc Rivers for the fact that the Sixers lost this game, as Embiid and Harden sat in the early stages of the fourth quarter, but I wouldn't totally blame that, as the Bucks with Giannis and hell, even Middleton off the floor were playing very good late into the game, and the Sixers had many opportunities to win in that game late. They simply just couldn't execute, and the Bucks played phenomenal defense. This Bucks team seems like they've been forgotten about, though, as a serious contender to come out of the East, with all of the talk surrounding teams like the Celtics, even despite Robert Williams' injury, the Sixers, and then the Nets, if the Nets can get healthy before the playoffs. And honestly, this reminds me of late last year in late April and early May, when the Bucks creeped into that 3rd seed and people slept on them, yet they of course ended up becoming the 2021 NBA champs. And while they might not be the favorites to come out of the Eastern Conference this postseason, I think you can't forget about them, and you'd be extremely silly to write them off. The Bucks being able to play at the level in which they did last night and bounce back from such a tough loss was a nice reminder of how truly scary they can be by the time the playoffs roll around, and it sort of reminded me of last postseason when they constantly found themselves down 2-0 in multiple playoff series, especially the NBA Finals, yet they bounced back and won that series while looking like it didn't faze them whatsoever. This Bucks team has a huge primetime matchup against the Nets coming up on Thursday, and I truly think that you can't write off what a win would do for the Bucks if they're able to win in Brooklyn, and that would do a lot for their confidence as well as their seeding in the Eastern Conference playoffs, as they're only half a game behind the Miami Heat to claim that 1st seed, with multiple winnable games remaining on their regular season schedule. So this is just a reminder, don't sleep on the Milwaukee Bucks and this team, because they damn well can end up coming out of the Eastern Conference and making it to the NBA Finals yet again. Anyway guys, I want to know what you guys think about this Milwaukee Bucks team or anything we talked about in this video down below in the comment section. If you liked the video, then make sure to give it a like as it helps out a lot. And if you're new to the channel and or enjoy the NBA, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. That way you stay up to date with all the newest content on my channel. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm SCJ, and I am out. Peace.